Okay. We are live. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to share my the link to YouTube just in case you're not able to see everything in Discord. All right, guys, thank you for joining. So we have popes to give away. We have a transporter, an NFT transporter to give away as well. That's going to be towards the end of the call. Popes are coming. I know you guys like the Pope a lot. So a couple of changes to the popes. We have roughly only 200 of them, and because in the past we've been doing like around 2,000 just to be safe, and pretty much all 2,000 have been claimed, and it's because there's like this cartel of password sharing, which is fine. I mean, it's no big deal, but I think we want to kind of focus on like rewarding the people who do join the call. So if we limit to 200, I think we kind of hone in on that. So the way to claim the Pope is you send a direct message to the Pope bot, and then you give them a password. And the password is community6. That was a long pause, wasn't it? Yeah. Community6, that's the password. So DM the POAP bot. Actually, let me bring this guy up at POAP bot. Yeah, PopeBot. Send them a direct message. Community6. That should be the password. Community6 with a number 6. Let me type it in. Community6. All lowercase and the number at the end. That's how you claim the Pope. All right, cool. Trey Waters got it. Nice. A couple changes to the Pope as well. We're trying to make the actual Rovi rotate. We're trying to find a fast way to do it, and I think we can. So pretty soon you'll see the Popes kind of animate a little bit. All right, so towards the end of the call, we're going to be giving away that Rovi transporter. And today what we wanted to discuss was yesterday, we had a roundtable with some members of the community. And we had a really, really good conversation. So I recommend you guys watch it just so you can kind of see like the real-time discussion on the gameplay and a lot of stuff that we're doing for the game itself. And so I recommend you guys watch that YouTube video. But we're going to kind of go over what we discussed yesterday. And I know Sunday is kind of a weird day for a lot of people, work, seeing family and all that stuff, especially after a long week of work. And if some of you work in the crypto industry, it's pretty much 24/7. There's no real time off. So I definitely understand. Okay, so Juxon's saying Pope's still pending. Oh, okay. Yeah, XDAI slow. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes that happens. It happens with a Polygon network. I've sent like thousands of transactions, and sometimes it takes like a couple of minutes for a transaction to clear. Yeah, I'm not sure why that happens, but it shouldn't be happening with these side chains, but it does. By the way, can you guys hear all those little dings and stuff? Damn it. Okay, let me see if I can... Let me see if I mute it, if that'll work. Okay, no, it's kind of annoying. And since I have headphones on, it's pretty loud. So, all right, let's see if that works. If you don't hear any dings, that means I turned off notifications and it worked. But all right, let's get started. So, what did we discuss yesterday? So, one of the things that we wanted to do is we wanted to incentivize the community a little bit deeper, and we've come up with a design that we think would work, and it was confirmed yesterday with the community that it would work. And so it looks like this. So we're talking about here, just to kind of give you like a overall summary. It's like let's assume that out of the 10,000 Rovies, each section of a Rovi, like let's say 1,000 each, right, was unique. Like it had a unique trait. And if you collected, let's say, 5 unique Rovies, right, they have their own unique trait, then you would have 10 chances to win a Rovi meta, right, a replicator or PvE or PvP meta that you could deploy on your land, and you'd have a really good chance of winning. And so the way that this would work is we have this crew setup. So for example, you guys are aware that there's a star crew, which is about 100, which was the exclusive giveaway by the team. And then there's an invasion crew, right? The invasion crew are people who purchase the presale, right, at half off. And so there's roughly 500 and change for those people. And then the origin crew. So this is important because the origin crew was originally designed to be like the rest of the 10,000. And so instead, what we want to do is have the origin crew limited to all the way through October 8th, which is the next unboxing event. So I believe the unboxing is on Thursday, which is October 7th. So maybe we'll leave it October 8th, but ideally it was designed to be on the unboxing day. So what does this mean? So you can, when you purchase a Rovi now, a Rovi transporter, you are getting an origin crew. And so these 3 crews are unique to each other because these are different traits. And so if you happen to have a star crew, an invasion crew, and then an origin crew, you would be at this tier. So whenever we do a giveaway, whenever there's a new meta that's released, we'll give away some of them, and we'll use this scheme to give it away to Rovi holders. And the next meta that's going to drop, I think it's going to be in a couple of weeks from now, it's going to be the hologram meta. So the hologram meta, if you deploy it on your land, and these are going to be relatively inexpensive. They're going to be more closer to the wild grass, the Ethermon wild grass, if you guys are familiar with that game, that they're going to be relatively inexpensive. And then once you deploy on your land, you'll be able to see everybody else's Rovies roaming on your land when they show up, of course. So it's going to be connected to a WebSocket server, and you'll be able to see all the unique Rovies when people show up to your land. So it would be a good incentive for, like, if you're a landowner, to invite people to come and kind of flex their Rovies, right? And it's going to show if you have accessories attached to it, if you have weapons attached to it, everything's going to show up, all unique. So it's going to be pretty cool. And one of the things that we decided to do as well is if you have an unleash or a holo crew. So say, for example, we get to the date where we drop this hologram meta. And on that date, that's when you can start purchasing holo crews. And if you have a holo crew, then that meta would be 50% off. So for anyone who's holding a holo crew, it's going to be 50% off. There was a discussion in the meeting yesterday where I think anyone below the holo crew would also get 50% off, but we'd have to kind of figure out, like, if that makes sense. And I think it does. I mean, there's only so many people here, right? In the star crew, invasion crew, and origin crew. So it seems reasonable. So all this will be confirmed sort of like in an announcement, official announcement. But that's sort of the things that we're talking about too. So like I said, a holo crew would get 50% off here, and then anyone with a wave crew would get 50% off the PvE meta as well. And it kind of goes through all the different metas that we have: fabricator, replicator, assimilator. And so that's sort of the design that we have. And we discussed this with some of the community members who are holding a bunch of Rovies, and they all seem to like it. So part of their recommendations and suggestions were sort of up here, right? So we were talking about replicating, and we had a member of the community, like early on in Axie, kind of join us, and he saw like the good things and the bad things about Axie. And a lot of it revolved around breeding. And in Axie, it seemed like the community got so deep into breeding that it was there was more Axies than there was players at some point. And of course, now it's a little bit kind of skewed just because Axie kind of blew up. But there was a certain point where people were breeding like back to back, and it wasn't really sustainable, and it wasn't really working for the community. So what we came up with was actually pretty brilliant. And so for Rovies, breeding is replicating, right? And so there would be a max count of replication that would occur from your Rovi, and each time you replicate, the output, right, the resultant variant or replicant would only be able to replicate x minus 1. So if you have one of the first 10,000 Rovis, you can replicate up to 5 times for that particular Rovi. But each resultant or variant can do 5 minus 1. So for example, if you take 2 Rovis, two of these 10,000 Rovis, and you replicate them, your subsequent Rovi can only be replicated 4 additional times, right? And then if you use that to replicate, it can only do 3 more times, the resultant. So it keeps dwindling, and so there's going to be a max size in terms of how many times you can replicate using the subsequent variants. But this is different in the sense that I think Axie had up to 7 times that you could breed, and each result could be bred 7 more times. And so the expansion was pretty much infinite. And I mean, it's not technically infinite. It's it reaches a pretty high number. There's an asymptote to this, but it's relatively high. And so from the perspective of Rovi's, it really didn't make sense to do that. And we wanted to kind of learn from the mistakes of others, right? That's how you progress and you start testing new things. Just an example, one of the things that we're testing is if you compare the design of Rovi to Axie's, like when you breed, that money is, you interact with a website, and that money is sent to the Rovi to the Axie team. But what we're doing with Rovi's is we're distributing the game to the community, and when you replicate, you're replicating from a community-owned meta, and so that money goes to the community or the actual owner of that replicator. So that's one of the things that we're testing here. We think this is a model that's going to work. Obviously, you guys are here for that type of thing and experiment. So that's what we really like about this project, is that unique aspect. And I think there was, I don't remember the number, but there was millions of dollars spent on breeding an Axie. And, what we were thinking is, well, what if those millions of dollars went to the community itself? And would that be sustainable? And, we're like, hell yeah, that seems to make a lot of sense. So let's do that. And so that's why we've come up with like these different NFTs for functions. And it's one of the things that I think is going to bring a community a lot closer and going to sustain this game a lot longer. And it's a lot less dependent on the team and more about like the collaboration with the community. So, Noob is a priest. Yes. He's showing, what is that? 7 million Axies? 7,186,000. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, Valentine, Anubis a priest, was joined us for the call, and he was the expert in Axie in this discussion, and yeah, that proves a point. 7 million Axies were bred. Yeah, that's a good question, Trunks. I think I missed some of the questions up here, but I'll respond to Trunks' question. So, how long do you think before we can play the game? Is it early 2022? So, a lot of this stuff has already been built. Trunks. We've made a ton of games before. Oscar's made Corona Zombies. He's contributing to the Ethermon game, obviously. And so a lot of this stuff has been built. It's just not in the flavor of Rovi, right? It's not. It doesn't have the Rovi look. But it has similar functions. And so you could expect to play the game probably no later than early 22. I mean, that would be the latest. And we're going to be releasing this in phases, as you can see here. The first thing is going to be the hologram meta, which you can see everybody's Rovi. And then after that is the PvE. So pretty soon you'll be able to take your Rovis and battle against enemies, right? I think we're going to call them glitches. And you'll be battling against glitches, and you'll be collecting these 1155 assets. And with those assets, you'll be able to do a number of things. The main thing is upgrading your Rovi. The other stuff is you can use those assets to craft a weapon or craft a wearable, and then potentially those wearables are going to be upgradable as well. We're kind of thinking about doing that as well. But each accessory, each weapon is going to be unique. They're going to be ERC 721s, and they're going to have an RNG attributes, just like your Rovies will on Thursday when we unbox them. So a lot of this gameplay is going to be completely unique. There's going to be a lot of incentives to kind of look around and OpenSea and see, who's selling what accessory that kind of fits your strategy for battle. And so I think that's the direction that we want to go with. And then we're going to be releasing all these other metas subsequently as they become ready. And for each crew associated to the release of that meta, you'll get 50% off of those metas as well. And then, of course, every time we do a release, we're going to be giving away, X number of those metas to the community. Okay, let's see. How to join giveaways. So just hang on to the call. At the end, we're going to be releasing a bot, interact with it, and then you have a chance to win. Okay, let me scroll up, guys. Let's see if I missed any other questions. Looks good here. How to burn in-game tokens. Well, depending on which token you're talking about, there is a chance that, let's say you replicate a Rovi and like the attributes are just not great. I think there will be an ability to scrap that Rovi for its parts or materials, 1155 materials. So then you can use that to upgrade your previous Rovis or upgrade later Rovis, whatever, or even sell those assets, right? 1155s, you can sell them on the open market. So I think there will be an ability to kind of burn these Rovis for parts, and then you can use them for anything. And then I think the same will go with all the other assets like weapons. So basically, you can imagine that any ERC 721 in this game can be scrapped for its parts, or in this case, the 1155 assets that you use to upgrade other stuff. So that's a good question. All right, let's see here. If we cap the number of Rovies, then would replicator metas become worthless once we hit max cap? I think even in the scheme, there's still going to be hundreds of thousands of Rovies, and so way beyond hundreds of thousands. So even then, I don't think replicators are going to be all that less valuable, because at a certain point we could expand the the uniqueness of a Rovi by introducing, like right now there's 10 perfect Rovis, right? Out of the potential 100,000, there's 10 perfect ones. So if somebody finds them, I mean that's pretty rare. So there's an opportunity that we could expand with 10 more unique Rovis, right? To continue, like, let's say this game blows up and there's millions of players. 100,000 assets is not really going to do anything. So if we introduce 10 more, we go from 100,000 possible permutations to I believe like 3 million. And so at that point, and then the growth is based on people replicating. So it's not like all of a sudden there's going to be 3 million in circulation. It's going to be a growth to a max cap of 3 million. So there's a way to expand it, but we're nowhere close to that. So I wouldn't get ahead of ourselves for that yet. Okay, that was a good question. Let's see. Yeah, there's going to be a bot that's going to be deployed here towards the end of the call, maybe like in another 15, 20 minutes. And then you just react to that bot, and then you have a chance to win a Rovi transporter. When can stake? A lot of the stuff, so one of the things that we're talking about is in comparison to what Axie did, they have two tokens, obviously, right? One token is infinite supply, and the other token is a governance token. It has a max supply. And so I think our opinion has always been since the beginning that there needs to be, every game has to have some element of infinity, right? There has to be something that you can go and like grind or collect where there's no cap. And then you use your time in grinding to switch that asset to a different asset, right? Whether it's purchasing a Rovi or upgrading, whatever it is, like you could use that infinite asset to convert into something. And so I think we're thinking about doing the same thing here with Rovies, where we have essentially two tokens. One is infinite and one is sort of like a governance token. And it seems to make the most sense because when you're playing the PvE or specifically the PvP, I think it seems the PvP is going to be the only meta that has a token enter into circulation, right? That's the only one, because that's where you get paid for a win. And when you get paid, it comes from like the treasury, and that treasury pays the winner, and then that's the token that goes into circulation, right? And all the other metas are metas where the player pays to use, right? It's either being a replicant or using the replicator or crafting meta or any of these other metas that have some sort of upgrade or some other function. It's going to cost that token. And so this is going to be like a huge element of the game where a lot of the tokens are going to be circulating, because that's the only way to play the game is you have to use a token. And there's going to be two of them, right? There's going to be a token for governance, kind of decide, should we expand to 10 new Rovies, right? Which would yield 3 million total Rovies. And then, other governance issues that arise at that time, but it seems to make the most sense. So I guess going back to the question, when stake, a lot of those tokens, maybe not the infinity one, but the governance one, you'll be able to stake. Yeah, but that's for a later. I mean, that has very little implication on the gameplay, and I think if you don't have the gameplay right, it doesn't really matter if you can stake the token or not. All right, Trunks. Let's see. Is there something cooking that would bring in more eyes on the project or partnership before the Hollow Crew? Yeah. So right now we are implementing sort of like a marketing strategy. We discussed this too yesterday, so I definitely recommend you guys watch the call. It was very good. So a lot of the stuff that's happening in the PFP space, it seems to be just JPEGs, right? And I think the underlying interest in this is it's extremely easy to understand, right? You look at a JPEG and you can instantly know that it's going to be desirable, right? That is the only metric, for the most part, it's the only metric that these investors really care about, and as they should, because it's an investment for them. It's not like you're going to do anything with these JPEGs, and I'm sure there's definitely a lot of projects promising metaverse this and game that, but I'm telling you guys, it's hard. It's hard to make a game, and it's you got to design the game. It has to be sustainable, and then eventually launching a token, and then depending on where your team is at, there's like legal and regulatory restrictions and all this stuff. So it's complicated, and so one of the people that we were talking to also brought up that there was a game. Some guerrilla game, and they sold out, and they were going to come out with a game, and they completely rug pulled. So I think they walked away with like 800 ETH, and it's just easier just to not make a game, right? And just like kind of FOMO into these things and not really understand the implications of like all the work that it takes to make a game. So so having said that, I think the marketing strategy is really focused on like game communities, and not really PFP communities, because it's like I said, it's too much to learn. Like all this stuff that we're talking about here, like you talk to someone who's investing in just like generic PFP projects, it's going to go right over their head, because they're not thinking about this stuff. And eventually, the market will mature, right? Eventually, PFP projects, I think, are going to stay, right? Just like ICOs, IDOs, all these things are going to stay. They're good mechanics. These mechanics are being they're being leveraged by projects who are intending to do a rug pull, and we've seen this all the time in crypto. So so we do think PFP projects are going to stay. I think when the market matures, they're going to expect more from PFP projects. They're going to expect things like we were doing here, and there's going to be a lot less ability for teams to kind of rug pull, just because you'll be able to know instantly that they're in it for your ETH. So yeah, so I think focusing on like game communities is probably the best bet, just because gamers, they invest in like the economy of things. They invest in like understanding how to play, how to optimize and everything. So we think that's kind of our audience that we want to focus on. So yeah, so that's what we were talking about yesterday as well. All right, News Priest. Does every crew have a special visual sign? I think that would be ultra cool. Um, that's a good question. I think with the maybe with the ability of accessories, we can append each Rovi with a unique accessory based on their crew. So that would be interesting. I don't know. This accessory probably won't be detachable, unlike other accessories. So that's an interesting idea, and I think that would be helpful to kind of distinguish the different crews. Okay, so Spins looks like the Pope bot is giving him the a rejection here. Is anyone else getting Pope rejections? Let's see. Just kind of going through the questions here. Is there going to be an MMR system? Absolutely. Hell yeah, there's going to be an MMR system. When you do a PvP, we're gonna pitch you against someone with a similar MMR, so MMR score, so that you're not beating up on like the noobs out there, and or competing with yourself and kind of like just mining a token, just defeating yourself all the time. So yeah, that's another good question. Will PvP battles have any skill-based element, or will it be based mainly on stats with a bit of random chance thrown in? Yes. So there is a element of strategy for sure. I think there's still going to be an element of RNG. Just because you completely upgrade your Rovi to its max doesn't necessarily mean you're just going to like dominate the space. And I don't think that makes sense. I mean, even, Michael Jordan lost 10 games, in that season where they completely dominated, right? So I don't think you should just be able to mow down like your opponents just because you spent all that time, or you paid somebody to spend all that time. I think there's still an element of strategy, timing, and then a little bit of luck, right? There's going to be some element of RNG. So that way, anybody who's jumping into the Rovi universe, they're going to have some chance, right? It won't be as good as a chance as somebody who completely upgrade their Rovi and retrofit it for battle, but they'll have like some chance at least amongst their peers, right? Similar MMRs. Meta key bonus already announced. Yeah, so anyone who's holding a meta key and a Rovi will be able to claim a meta key weapon. So I'm not sure when the snapshot's going to happen, but it's going to happen relatively soon. Once we get these the weapon NFTs out, that's when it'll happen. And there's going to be plenty of time to like prepare. Yeah, it was Community 6, TJ. I'm not sure why Poet Bot is not working. I don't know if you guys know Facebook, Instagram, and those guys are down. Just putting that out there because Facebook sucks. Still pending. Tried to reclaim, failed. Yeah, maybe XDie is like having trouble. Yeah, XDie seems to be down. 200 already minted. There's no way. I'll have to check on that. If there's 200 already minted, I would be extremely surprised. I doubt it though. Yeah, there's 11 transfers. Yeah. So there's still about 190 left. No. There's definitely 200. Facebook. Stay down, please. Yeah, for real. I think max set to 11. No, definitely not. No, there's something else. It's definitely 200. Super Tyler, in the future, you could allow the projects to mint custom characters, e.g., a Rovi Bored Ape Genius. We could then start to breed. one similar idea was to take, let's say, we could potentially add crews in the sense of like a partnership. Like we could partner with like the Bored Ape crew, and if you have like a Bored Ape, you can kind of mint one of these guys in like a Bored Ape crew Rovi. But I think it would be limited to just the trait. If not, we can come up with an accessory that kind of like solidifies like the visual aspect of being a Bored Ape crew. So yeah, I mean, pretty much anything's possible. Especially, I think one of the main components to like, specifically this type of game is the ability to look unique. And with accessories, I mean, we could do that pretty instantaneously without like breaking a sweat. So it is a pretty good idea. See, Third Eye should set it so you have to be in the community call to obtain a Pope. Yeah, I think the Boomer Gone bot is a purpose-built bot for the Ethermon team, I think. I think a mod built it, and they're using it for that. I mean, that would be ideal, but yeah, I don't think we can use it. So the number was 6 when we started doing this. Now it's 11. Okay, community 6 now working. Okay. Yeah, I think when you're tying a trait to an accessory, like an NFT accessory, I think that accessory should be permanent because the trait is permanent. So it's unlike other accessories where you can kind of like add or subtract and remove. I mean, equip and unequip. So I think for traits, just think of this like if I want you guys to help us design this too. So think of let me give you the restrictions. So how this works. So when it comes to traits, in a lot of cases, the project owner has the ability to change the traits. That's why one of the traits for the transporter was unboxed. Sorry, it was closed or open. One of those traits, and you can dynamically change them. But I think what we want to do with these traits is they must remain permanent, just because that's how they retain the value. So when it comes to making a Matrix Crew Rovi look unique, we have to append an accessory that is permanent, right? That you cannot remove from a Matrix Crew, because otherwise, then if you can remove it, then it's like the Matrix Crew unique view, unique look. It loses its value if anybody can just like trade for it, right? So when you're coming up with like these crews, we have to come up with like some accessory, whatever it is, 3D object that is permanent, but still works with, all the different accessories and stuff. All right, let's see. Is claiming a Medikey gun also work for not open transporters? Yes, it does. Yeah. So Janfar, it only matters if the NFT that you have, even if there's a Rovi inside, as long as you have a Rovi within the same wallet as your Medikey, then you can claim your free weapon. All right. Looks like, man. See, this is why we're coming up with this scheme here. Because I think with this method, we can distribute popes to, because we're going to code this in, right? So we can distribute popes to people who have a Rovi, and then the giveaways are going to be based on this mechanic, right? We're not going to use these bots because they're unreliable, and it's just, man, it's a bad experience for everybody. So. Okay, let's see. Okay, it says Wildwood. How can early investors get comfortable that the Rovi/metas they're purchasing now will retain an element of scarcity if there are potential plans to release additional unique Rovis in the future and so unlock millions of Rovis? I think the idea to have millions of Rovis is only to allow the expansion of the game. But let's say, for example, 100,000 Rovies get replicated, right? That's the max cap. And, there's huge demand. Each Rovi is like 10 ETH. Like, it's really unsustainable. So, of course, there's going to be a discussion with the community is like, well, we can expand it, right? If we add 10 unique Rovies, then the expansion will go from 100,000 to a million or 3 million, something like that. So, but the idea here is very specific, and we're not going to be introducing new transporters or new superchargers or nothing like that. It's going to be you purchase a Rovi, you get a Rovi, right? Not the transporter, the supercharger, and they will be significantly less expensive, I think. And so the idea here is to just merely expand the game, get more players involved. The more players, the more potential tokens that get entered into the circulation, and then more that owners of replicators or owners of these metas make because there are more players. So that's sort of the thinking behind like the expansion, and it wouldn't make sense to just keep everything to 10,000 or 100,000 because this is supposed to be a game, and we got to design a game that's expandable based on like the community size. Okay, let's see. Yeah, hopefully that's an adequate answer, Wildwood. Weapon for MetaKey holders. Yeah, so we have a collaboration with MetaKey, and anyone who has a MetaKey and a Rovi can claim a MetaKey specifically designed weapon. As a reference point, I'm pretty sure the early gen axes retain a premium. Yeah. The first set of axes, I think they were distributed for free if I remember correctly. Or no, maybe it was like extremely very inexpensive. It was like a few thousand of them, and obviously those are way more valuable because they were the first ones. And the same goes here. Like that's why. Think about this. That's why all these different crews. Let's say we sell out. There's 10,000 of these, and we have each out of the 10,000, it was split up between all these crews. The expansion Rovies, or the ones that are going to take the pool from 100,000 to 3 million, won't have any of these traits, right? They're going to have it won't be a crew. It's just going to be a Rovi. And so when you're looking for like as a speculator, I mean these are the ones that are the most valuable. Yeah, correct. So yeah, the MetaKey weapon is coming soon. All right, cool. We're caught up. So yeah, that's a lot of the stuff that we talked about. I think there's a couple of things here. So one of the things that was brought up in the questions yesterday was like, what happens if you have two star crews replicate? Do they continue on the lineage of a star crew? And I guess part of the discussion was like, well, what if they retain the trait? Would that make sense? Like kind of expanding the crew? And no one really liked that. So I think it's when these crews replicate, it's just the resultant trait is going to be a variant. It's likely going to the Rovi is going to be called a variant, and so that's what the trait is going to be called. So if you think about it, let's give a scenario where, like right now, let's say we began replicating right now. That means that you could still purchase a transporter, and you'll get one of these crews, but the resultant replicant won't have these traits. So I guess that's something to think about. Yeah, keep the crew special with a variant trait. Yeah. Yeah, hide on bush. You want to DM the Pope and see if this works. DM the Pope, the POAP bot, and send them the password is community6, the number 6, all lowercase, no spaces. Okay, Wildwood, another question. If only the original Rovies have crews, any chance that voting rights could attach to these crew Rovies instead of the new governance token would encourage factions forming as different crews begin to vote together? That's interesting. Um, I think technically we could do that. I think there might be an easier way to take the spirit of this and apply it to the ERC20 token, just because a lot of the voting mechanisms already exist with ERC20s and they don't exist with NFTs yet, or for the most part, they don't. Because say, for example, you have 10 Star Crew Rovies, like I don't think there's an application out there that takes your 10 NFTs and assigns you a weight. If there is, definitely let us know. But so the way you would do that is for every Star Crew, you get 100 Rovi tokens, and then everything below that will get significantly less, right? So that's just to signal your weight in the vote. Yeah, looks like it's not working. All right. Well, we'll have to think about how to distribute these popes some other method. These bots, they're just not reliable. So we've been 42 minutes on the call, so let me launch the bot so that we can give away this transporter here. All right. There's quite a few of you here. Appreciate your attendance. Give me a second and I will launch this bot. Here we go. And there's a chance this bot's not going to work either. But it looks like it's working, so I think we're good. Okay, 1 second. Okay, it's going to last. Let's give it 10 minutes. One. Okay, looks like it's off. Let's see if this bot is actually functioning. Okay, yeah. So if you're on YouTube and just jump into the live chat, there's a giveaway bot that has popped and you have 10 minutes to react to it. So it actually wasn't working yesterday. So what we did was we just kind of did a re-roll and we picked the 3 winners for the accessories NFTs yesterday. And then I think like an hour later it did pop. So I just removed those winners. Okay, let me see. Any other questions that I missed here? Yeah, all holders of the Rovi should receive the Pope. Yeah, that's been discussed a number of times. I don't think there's an easy way to do that. That's why it hasn't been done. But we can look into it. DJC says, I haven't been able to claim a Pope in Decentraland for the last few days too. Yeah, there must be something wrong with XDAI then. I have to look into it. Batman, I'm here for the tech. Appreciate that, Bruce. I'm here to expand my domain. All right. PJH, what domain are you in? Just out of curiosity. Hold on, let me pin this bot if I haven't already. Okay, if you can't find the giveaway bot, just go to the pin section in the live chat and you'll see it. You're in all the domains? All right. Yeah. Dodo 34 online, 55 confettis. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, there's like, well, you know what? Maybe people can't join like the Discord call for whatever reason, and so there might be on YouTube, but I mean, it's fine. I mean, what are you going to do? there's always going to be people that game everything, so it's pretty normal. Got more domains than DNS. Nice. Yeah, man. Speaking of, reminds me of Facebook getting a DDoS attack. I think there was a whistleblower who was trying to fix like the misinformation campaign from like Russians in on Facebook, and like she was trying to help out and like do whatever she can because she was hired by Facebook, and like Facebook didn't want to like do any of that, so she decided to do a whistleblow. So that's interesting. Yeah, and while we wait for the bot, I mean, I think we're in this leg of crypto right now that's very, very bullish. I think we're going to see $100,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year, and it's all like I think really based around all this math, right? Stock to flow cross asset model, and I mean, if you really look into it, it makes too much sense. All right, it seems like all the fluctuations that we see in crypto is all due to like the human psychology and like fear factors. And but if you have Bitcoin like in a vacuum, man, you would see this like smooth curve of price, like extremely smooth, and that price curve follows along with like the stock to flow ratio looks like for gold. And obviously, Bitcoin is way better than gold in like every measure. So humans, instead of creating that smooth curve, our minds like have this fear, and like that's why we see all these like huge fluctuations. But nonetheless, it oscillates around this curve, and so that's why I'm so like confident in this, and I really do feel like it's actually going to come through. But I guess we're going to find out in like 3 months. So. Dreyarch, you can set up a Pope claims for batches of addresses. Oh, hell yeah. Dude, link me. Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. Jamie, yeah, I guess try to DM the Poet bot, community 6, all lowercase, no spaces, and a number. Community 6, that's the password. And see if it works. It likely won't, though. Gold is the OG illiquid JPEG. Yeah, hell yeah. I buy on those fears. That's what I'm talking about, Angelo. Same. Pope.delivery. Okay. I'll check it out. I think I've seen it. I just never really looked into it. But hell yeah, that's a way better model. All right. Nobody believes that. Pandora Papers is coming. Well, that's interesting. I need to look into that. I'm not familiar as to what Pandora Papers is. PGH, Solana is taking out ETH, then we'll move on to Bitcoin. There's a chance. I mean, I wouldn't bet on it just because the network effect, but I don't know. Just building a better blockchain is not necessarily going to win anything. I think a lot of stuff is going to be built on Solana for sure, but I think the financial infrastructure will likely be built on Ethereum as because you could upgrade Ethereum, right? You could upgrade it to be a lot cheaper, a lot faster. It's just has to be a consensus. What do I think will happen to Mana? I think pretty much every token is going to rise as Bitcoin rises. I think once Bitcoin pops, I strongly believe, like in terms of Bitcoin, it's following the stock to flow cross asset model, which takes into account like all the different commodities that humans have had over the centuries, and then compares it to Bitcoin. And so I think it's better than just the standard stock to flow ratio. So anyway, that prediction is around $288,000 Bitcoin at the peak of this bull run. Nobody knows if it's actually going to get there. It could be 200, it could be 110. Nobody knows. But once it does pop, I think we're going to see very similar run like we did in 2017, where all the altcoins had a huge rally like a week later, and then that's pretty much your signal that the top is in, right? When all the altcoins rally. So I think Mana is going to go ham. I think basically every single altcoin is going to go ham. Yeah, AXS for Axie is dominating. Yeah, 20K ETH at peak madness in the cards, I think. Yeah, I think it's very possible. Do you not think that Bitcoin needs to be more green? Like sustainable, like for Earth? I think Bitcoin is going to encourage that sustainability. I really don't think Bitcoin has been consuming as much energy compared to fiat currency. I think fiat currency burns way more energy than Bitcoin, by far. It's not even close. Think about transporting gold or transporting stacks of fiat currency, all the energy that's used to transport money, and then keeping, banks online. I mean, it's almost the same thing. All right, pretty soon the bot's gonna pop. ETH 30K soon. Very unlikely for 30K. Let's see. Let me go to the pinned. Let's see. Let me jump to this guy, and it should pop in a few seconds. So this thing is still live, so I think we're good. Yeah, I think it is going to be between 10 and 20K. Yeah, if you look at historically, ETH has been between 2% and as much as like 17% of Bitcoin. So that's your range. Yeah, waiting for Iman to pump. Yeah. Yeah, I mean all the altcoins are gonna rally. There it is. We got a winner. Look at that. Pepe Gods. All right, man. Congratulations. We got a Rovi NFT transporter being sent to this guy with a weird name, but pepegods.com. Do more giveaways. Yeah. So as soon as we get more assets like into circulation here, like the metas and all that, we're gonna be doing a ton more giveaways, not just the transporters. So yeah, just stay tuned. We got a lot more to release for sure. And then on Thursday, we're going to come back online. Thursday, 6 p.m. UTC. I'll be on 30 minutes earlier, so 5:30 p.m. UTC. And we're going to go through kind of the unboxing process. I mean, I guess this is for anyone who hasn't unboxed before. So if you want to show up 30 minutes early, you can at 6 p.m. UTC. That's when the next unboxing will be live. You'll be able to unbox your supercharger, get your Rovi released, and then this will select or randomly generate your unique attributes. And so, and then you'll be able to tell like, which Rovies are going to be like relatively better at battle than others. So, so that's going to be on Thursday at 6 p.m. UTC, and there's going to be a giveaway then as well. And then I guess the next time we get together would be next Monday. All right, cool. All right, so we got about 5 minutes left. There's any other questions? Yeah, this guy. All right, thank you for sending me your ETH address. Yeah, congrats, dude. That marketing campaign is already in progress. We're just right now we're kind of hitting up all these different game communities, and we're going to collaborate with them and see, what's the best way that they work with projects. So yeah, I got to figure out what to do with the Pope today. So I think there's only a few people that were able to claim. I think what we can do. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll have to figure it out. I think I'll use, if I can, I'll use Drayork's link that he sent me. And man, I don't know everybody's ETH address. And definitely don't DM me your ETH address. We got to figure out what to do though. Or I guess we can just give the Pope POAP bot some time and then have to redo it again. All right, it says, Will, can you share anything with us about developing a Rovi PvP arena on DCO plots? I have a 2 plot and a 1 plot. I work in Blender and I'm interested in making a Rovi PvP arena. Yeah, so excellent. So the idea here is these metas that you see here are purely functions. So there's not going to be like a huge visual element to them, especially for the PvE and PvP. What we want to do instead is give you a bare bones meta, right, from a visual standpoint. The idea here is that you can take like a custom design arena, like from any creator, like on MetaZone or just a pure custom design meta or a pure custom design scene, and you can use that as your as your arena. So this meta will work on a 1x1, but it's expandable to any number, any size of a plot that you have. So if you have a 3x3, then you can have a 3x3 size, essentially PvE and PvP meta. So so when it comes to designing the arena itself, we'll definitely give you like some sort of like constraints, but we don't know those quite yet. But hang in there. We'll talk about that pretty soon. All right, guys. So yeah, hang out with me again on Thursday, 6 p.m. UTC. 30 minutes prior to that, I'll be on. I'll talk about like the whole process of unboxing. Everybody will get their NFTs upon unboxing, and yeah, we'll go from there, and we'll meet up again on Monday. We have roundtables scheduled on Sundays, 6 p.m. UTC, roughly on a monthly basis. Once we get the game out there, we're going to have them more often, right? Either every week or every 2 weeks, whatever makes sense. So we can get some feedback and we can, discuss the game and other changes that we need to make as we get the game released. But until then, it's going to be monthly. And basically every time we get together, there's going to be some giveaways. And the more we get closer down to this list here, there's going to be a ton of giveaways way more often. So stay tuned for that. But other than that, if there are no other questions, I'll let you guys go. Appreciate it. I will see you guys next Thursday. And yeah, we're going to be unboxing Rovi's with their unique battle attributes. So let's see what ends up transpiring from there. So I appreciate it, guys. And until Thursday. All right.